Hello, welcome back to Mr. Arsenal podcast for the last podcast of the season. Fucking doesn't time fly when it's crap? Oh dear God! And we've got Euros coming up, and Gareth Southgate can't make his mind up who he wants in his 26-man squad, whatever it is. So that's gonna be fun. But
33 provisional.
33 provisional, but he's got to cut 7, so it's like he can't make his mind up basically. And the fact that the provisional itself was announced last night at the last minute is a bit of a concern for me with Southgate yet again. But it is what it is. We're not going to concentrate on that. It's another podcast. As the title says, it's a season review. We're going to go over the season, give our players of the season, our young player of the season, our flops, and what we're hoping the club need to do to move forward. And also want to get touch on Dennis Bergkamp's comments recently with James Rowe as well. Because anyone that's news of channel, James has been on it before, and he has told us numerous times what Bergkamp is like over in Holland since he's retired. He hasn't really been the outspoken. He doesn't really do media stuff, and suddenly he's done something media-wise, and it's very open as well.
No, nothing at all.
So
you don't hear a peep out of him. You really don't. And I've interviewed his nephew Roland before, who also played for Brighton and Excelsior Rotterdam. But I've been here for 15 years, and you don't hear a peep out of him. You really don't. If he's got something to say, it's for a reason. It's be a very interesting summer. I was more intrigued last night. I put out a tweet last night, which was picked up by a fair few of my followers, but not everybody. There was this Dutch sports program called Rondo, which featured Gullit, Van Basten, and also Henk ten Cate, who was assistant to Rijkaard Barcelona. And they're talking about the Koeman situation. They asked Ten Cate, who's an extremely intelligent man, what he thinks is going to happen. And he said, I think Koeman will leave. He said, if you're asking for a replacement, it will be Arteta. And he signalled the link between Guardiola, Arteta, and Laporta. And I'd be interested to see what happens with that, because there's going to be clarity regarding Ronald Koeman in the next 10 days. And all of us are talking about players coming in and players going out, when it could well be, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think there's a slight possibility. You're managing at least, first and foremost.
If that happened, that's more work for Josh and co to get their heads round, because all of a sudden their plans with Arteta will be out the window, sort of thing. They've got to start again with a new face. There's a lot of pressure to get.
What was really interesting about those? What was really interesting?
So I was going to say, third time lucky. It needs to be. If that does happen, manager-wise, they need to get it right this time, and not just to save pennies.
Well, I don't know what they're doing first and foremost, do they? I mean, they just see Arsenal as a healthy investment that kind of keeps them ticking along. They couldn't give two hoots about us. The younger generation, the older generation, the Arsenal fan, they're not interested. Only interested in the dollar sign. They're only interested in keeping their investment healthy. That's all they're interested in. They're not interested in trophies. Not interested in sporting merit, not interested in going for a title, just keep it ticking over. And one thing I finally wanted to say about the Henk ten Cate comments, he's very clued up, Ten Cate. You don't hear much of him, but he's a very intelligent man. And he was explaining it as well, because everybody seems to think that Xavi Hernandez is going to become the new manager of Barcelona after Koeman. But Ten Cate was explaining that in the presidential elections, Xavi didn't for Laporta. He voted for somebody else. So Laporta is unlikely to hire him. And I think Koeman's days are numbered. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that. It's a very long summer, soul search. They might write decisions, but it's not started yet, Ryan and James. And you see how people have got their list. We should buy this one. Photos of Bissouma plastered all over social media. I bet they couldn't tell you who Bissouma played before he arrived at Brighton.
Oh,
I bet they couldn't tell you that. He played for Lille before he arrived at Brighton. And Brighton have lowered their price tag So that tells its own story. And as I've said before, I've been on this channel many, many times before. I have 5 years experience interviewing professional players and managers at all different levels of world football. I've spoken to players where a transfer has broken their career and made their career. And every transfer is a pot of a rainbow. Take Saliba. Saliba arrived at Arsenal and everything looked wonderful. He was shipped back out to France. When you're a player in particular, and you go abroad, most of those young players, for the first time in their lives, are learning life skills. They're learning to cook. They're learning to clean. They're learning to look after themselves. The club becomes your family, and if you don't play, it can have a detriment effect to the player. And I see some Arsenal fans on Arsenal Twitter compiling lists as long as your arm as to who we're going to sign, when first and foremost, we've got to go through that squad with a fine tooth comb. We've got to sell before we can buy, and we're not minted, loaded. So we've got to make some very difficult and, dare I say, unpopular decisions in the summer. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. But we've got a big, long summer ahead of us, and we have to get cracking as soon as possible.
What do you say now, with the fact that we're now out of Europe for the first time in 25 years? This is the biggest summer since we signed Bergkamp. That summer outside of Europe, because everyone's making that comparison as well. Of the last time we didn't finish in the European spot, we signed Dennis Bergkamp. I look at it as different in that respect. It was different times then, but I still see this as a huge summer, not just for the owners and the staff,
absolutely,
but for the club itself. Going forward, I've seen your tweets recently where you've been saying, and I've seen it on Alex's channel, and you say in the next 3 or 4 years we could be in a championship club.
Yeah.
We're not big enough or bold enough to say we'll never be a championship club, because look at Leeds, look at Villa, look at Nottingham Forest. The list goes on. There's bigger and better clubs,
West Ham
history-wise. Yeah, West Ham as well, history-wise, that have gone down. It's taken, for example, Leeds. It took them 16 years to get back.
Nottingham Forest, still there now.
Yeah.
I don't set to be to Nottingham Forest as well, as James rightly says. I don't say that to be different from the rest. I know my perspective is a little bit different than most, but if you don't look after, if you own something, if it's a house, if it's a car, if it's a special possession you've got that means the world to you, if you don't look after it, it will decay. You got to look after it, and we are in the hands of Kroenke's got a track record in America. You saw Arteta saying about Josh is here to take us to a new level. Well, okay, that level is down then, isn't it? It's level down to the Championship, and there's no previous. You can't look and say, "Oh, well, he did a great job at Hertha Berlin. He did a great job at Rennes. He did a great job at Lille, for example." There's no previous, and we're just going through the most as a football club. You make a great point about the differences between the Bergkamp summer and also now. But I've got a question for you both now. And I prioritised Arsenal games from Amsterdam the last 10 seasons. I remember rocking up at the Emirates at home to Napoli, Rennes, Bati Borisov, Monaco, Bayern Munich, and the disdain from some of the fans. Oh, they're a pub team, this lot. We'll beat these lot tonight. They're useless. It's just my personal opinion, but I'd like to hear both your opinions on it as well. I believe for the last 10 seasons, Arsenal have just taken European football for granted, where participation appeared to be more important than actually trying to win the thing. We haven't won a European trophy for 27 years. I was a very young gooner when that happened. It remains one of the most fondest memories I've ever got of supporting Arsenal. But what's really annoyed me, even with the Conference League, we can still get Conference League. Have you seen the teams that are in it? Have you seen it? Honestly, it's as if, whereas before, it's like everybody gets a medal. Whereas before it used to be only the best qualify, it's now going right the way down, where the 7th team in a specific domestic league is going to play European football. And it's, I can understand the motives behind it, but if you're good enough to play in Europe, which we quite clearly were the last quarter of a century, I mean, you think what life was like a quarter of a century ago, and now, 1 minute you're recording the charts on your cassette, and the next minute you're doing a podcast on your iPhone. In terms of technology, and I just think we've been in it for such a long time. But it'd be great to hear both your thoughts on it as well. It's my personal opinion. We've taken European for granted, in my opinion. We really have. And the next time we're in Europe, I want to see a different Arsenal, different owner, different ethos, potentially a different manager, a completely unrecognisable Arsenal. Because what I'm about to say, people might criticise me for, but I'm going to say it anyway. Arsenal have been in Europe for a quarter of a century, guys, but we don't know how to play in Europe. We don't know how to play in Europe in terms of game management, in terms of looking at the opposition, in terms of respecting the opposition, what they've done before. And all those years of playing it year in, year out, and we still, after 25 years, do not know how to play in Europe. And as an Arsenal fan of 30 plus years, that hurts me a fair bit. Because, yes, it's nice to see the great teams, but I didn't enjoy flying back from Amsterdam to see us get beat by Oostersunds. I didn't enjoy flying back from Amsterdam to see us get whipped by Monaco. I look at it now that we have had our time in Europe now. That's it. We're done. We've got to learn from our mistakes and go forward. And hopefully the next time we're in Europe, things will be completely different.
Well, I'll let James obviously come in first. Had a chance to get his wording yet, so.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think, like you said, we've had over 25 years in it, and we've only made, 2 finals. If you want to, if you look at the numbers, 3. It was 3. Oh yes, 3. Sorry, yeah, the one in the one against Galatasaray as well.
Galatasaray.
Yeah, trying to blank that out of my mind from being a young kid. Yeah.
Blank.
Yeah. So if you look at numbers, that in itself isn't a good, indicator. Indicator to begin with, but I mean, I think the season out. I wanted the season out, like you said. This summer's so massive and so important that we've got to get a lot of the stuff right. And if, like you just put there, James, earlier, you said it's if the manager's going to go, that completely ruins everything. And we're fantastic at PR. Look at Adidas. They've already pumped out 3 new sets of training wear since the last game of the season. We got a new kit coming out the way. And they've all told us this is a long-term project and this is a long-term project manager. Well, if this long-term project manager jumps at the first offer that comes in for him, and albeit, okay, Barcelona aren't currently the Barcelona of old, but it's still Barcelona and it's home for him. So if he takes it, then we're back at square one again. We've got to find a manager that wants to come in with this regime who, let's be fair, if you're watching any kind of news about Premier League football at the moment, you're seeing that all the fans hate the regime. I mean, it's still Arsenal, it's London and it's Arsenal. Someone will take it. I'm not saying we're not going to be looking forever for a manager, but a lot of them are going to go, your fans don't like you. When I lose a couple of games, the fans are going to jump down my head because there's a lot of fans already turning on Arteta, rightfully so, in my opinion. I don't think he's done good enough, and I think his inexperience shines through. It's all a bit of a mess. And like you said, if he goes, you've got to start all over again. And I mean, you're in more of a mess than we think now. I mean, how many brooms are we going to get to sweep it all up?
We're saying that we've been doing it.
We probably made all the cleaners redundant, so there's no one to sweep it up.
There you go. To get Edu to do it in Vinay. There you go.
Well, that's the thing. If Arteta goes, surely Edu's got to go with him.
Well, that's the thing. I was watching the Same Old Arsenal podcast last night, and apparently there was reports going around from various media outlets and reporters saying that Edu and Arteta could be in danger of their jobs anyway before this Barcelona situation with those and the comments that have been made. I think I've said for you for the last few weeks now, the fact that Vinay is still in the club and his head didn't roll after the Super League situation. Obviously, the owners didn't want to walk anyway, so a head has to roll. Vinay hasn't gone. So what does that tell you? Edu and Arteta are next in the chopping block. And the thing is, the owners will think, oh, if we do this and get rid of Edu and and Arteta, for example, and bring in, for example, Mark Overmars, David O'Leary for the board and a top class manager, the fans will forgive us. We'll be back on board and off we go again. And they'll do that out of that mindset. And when they don't get the reaction they want, they'll be like, "Oh, fuck you then," basically. Fend for yourselves. And we're back to square one. And we're in a worse position because then the manager that comes in, even though he's got a new experienced director of football, Mark Overmars, and someone like David O'Leary helping him as well behind the scenes as well, they're not going to get financially back to get in the players that they need. And plus, that person's inheriting Wenger players, Miami players, Arteta players. That's three managers worth of players that haven't worked so far. That we're seeing a massive decline in the last 12 to 18 months. Plus, if you go back to Wenger's end of Wenger's couple of years, that guy's now got to get rid of who he doesn't want out of them three managers worth of players, and bring in his own players. But if he's not getting backed by the ownership financially, he's then got to dip into the youth system and find some sort of balance somewhere with players he probably doesn't even want.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying as well, at the moment, like I said earlier, it's all being touted that this is all being built in Mikel Arteta's image.
Yeah.
And if he jumps off ship, someone else could have a completely different ethos. And again, you've got a changing room that might go like that, similar to what they had with Emery. And okay, for me, Unai Emery wasn't the one. In hindsight, Unai Emery wasn't the right man anyway. But they could revolt again. This guy gets booted out, and we're just doing a rinse and repeat. Do you know what I mean? There has to be some kind of. The best word I can find is stability.
Yeah.
And we've had the new appointment of is it Richard Garlick? I think it is.
Richard Garlick's coming, as of last Monday.
Yeah, and Tim Lewis come in as well, who's, obviously looking at how the money's being spent and what goes on with the money and everything else. Vinay's there because he was purely accountant and numbers, and I think they like having him there because of that business acumen and the numbers acumen. I think they like having him around for that aspect. But you can't, okay, people go, yeah, but look at Chelsea, they're hire and fire and they sack and change managers all the time, and look how well they've done, and Man City or whatever, this revolving door. Yes, but they're financially backed, and there's people in there that know what they're doing, and their club's a labour of love. I'm sorry, but for me, if Josh is 100% serious, and we know he's going to stay, he has to move over here, live over here, and fully commit to Arsenal. Take a look, for example, at Fulham, right? They're owned by that Shad Khan, and his son Tony Khan operates it. Tony Khan has the Jaguars American football team, and he also runs a wrestling company. They've just got relegated. Yeah. Because he can't fully invest all of his time into three different things. And I'm like, if you want to be hands off, then pay the money and get people in that can do it for you while you're not here. Which is why Mark Overmars, from what I know, is currently sat doing nothing. He's just like he's free to do whatever he likes. Bring him in. He's had experience. The Ajax model has been around for nearly 40, 50 years now. With that academy and that the players
the philosophy,
when they're about
ideology
6,
of Ajax.
Exactly. Yeah. From when they're about 6 to when they make the first team, it's all exactly the same. What you need to be either the English version of an Ajax, or you need to be, you've got to develop from within and buy a good player every now and then. And when you sell, you reinvest it well and you carry on like that, or we just carry on being a mess.
I've got a few comments in the chat, but also I want to say as well, in terms of manager, you've said, look, it does all terms and purposes, it does look like the Cronkies are going to stay in charge of the ownership wise. They're not breaking the net to sell up, but also that's another. There's that slight chance whilst Daniel Eck or whoever stays hovering in the background and Bergkamp and Henry and Vieira saying what they're saying. There's always that chance, and the manager's then got to come in at the same time under this current ownership and think, yeah, he's hyped for initiative, but it dawns on him. Well, hang on, if this ownership's this my employer now sells up, that next owner, the next employer of mine might not want me, no matter what, no matter how good I'm doing, I won't be their man, and then I could be out of a job. So there's other things you've got to look into, but there's a comment here, obviously about transfers as well, wasn't it? Saying, guys, did you see Basuma's Instagram picture? He has an Arsenal bag, not logo, it's the Arsenal bag in the background of his, I think it's a hotel room or something. I don't know where he was. I don't want to look too much into that because he could have literally just be given a bag for just putting a few personal bits and pieces in after Sunday's game. We don't know. You remember, we're now hearing that Liverpool are looking into Bissouma as well. Look, let's be honest. If you're a player and you're ambitious and you want to win titles now, and compete and win titles now, who are you going to choose? Liverpool, who are already there, or Arsenal, who you can't guarantee will be back there anytime soon in your career. It's like with Harry Kane. It's like with Harry Kane. For him if he's to leave Tottenham, we're all led to believe he's putting it in pleas. He has to go to a club that's guaranteed trophies, a Man City or PSG of this world, or Chelsea, for example. Otherwise, what's the point of going from one club that's not winning trophies to another club that's not winning trophies? So, yeah, we win the FA Cup, and look, I love the FA Cup. Let's not get it twisted for anyone watching or listening back. But there's more. There's 2 to 3 other trophies you can win with a club. Man City win Carabao Cup every year under Pep, no matter what. They win the league every third time in 4 years. They've won it now under Pep. Mm-hmm. They're in a Champions League final. Liverpool have won Liverpool got Champions League pedigree. Yeah. Chelsea could win their second ever Champions League title as well this Saturday. Sorry, depending on what happens either side, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you've got there's clubs that are racing ahead of us. This is what I'm saying about earlier. When we were last time we were out of Europe, there wasn't as many competitive teams in and around us that there is now. Back then, it was us, Man United, and Blackburn are flirting here and there and there, but nothing major.
Do you know what else was there as well, Ryan? Was Arsenal back then had tradition and class.
Yeah.
And we have none of that anymore.
We had the right men running the club.
Yeah,
David
exactly. And it was a labour, like I said earlier, it was a labour of love. It was their life. Everything revolved around that football club. And we don't have that anymore, sadly. We do not, at the moment, we do not have people. You know, Saturday, you heard a few of the chants. I know the protest didn't go fully to plan because of weather and everything else. But the PA system was ramped right up. You could hear the music was I mean, I was watching it from home. I don't have a season ticket anymore, obviously, so I'm not in the ballot and everything else. And you know, we walk out to these wrestlers' musics at half time all of a sudden this season. And that John Cena theme was pumped in well louder than what they normally are. Because people were already chanting. When they knew the cameras were coming back on, they knew that, you know, the We Want Kroenke Out was start. And the balloons and everything else as well, they were quickly scooped up. They didn't last very long. So,
exactly. I mean, literally, guess who was there to make sure that was happening? Because again, it doesn't look. Because Josh is there. I said, Josh is there with the club lawyer Tim Lewis and Vinay. They know because when the protest was a few weeks ago for the Everton game, you could hear the protest still outside during the game. Yeah. And they knew that with them being there this time, that wouldn't look good for business and things like that. And that's all they're thinking of. Think of what affects them in their pocket. And this is why, for me, I've been very frustrated with some of our fan base in the sense of not just a shirt buying of this new shirt that, again, looks nothing like the 71 season homage that they're trying to make it out to be. But putting yourself in a ballot for me, with all due respect, an end of season meaningless game, we were literally hoping, we weren't even in our hands to be in a European spot. It was out of our hands. We had to hope that Tottenham lost, this, that, and the other. Most of them did. Tottenham, as we all know, came back and did what they did. So it was a meaningless game. 10,000 people broke their necks basically to get to that game. And like, but that's our protest at the same time. All right, but you're putting money in his pocket by putting yourself on a ballot, and he's taking money out of your account. You know what I'm saying? And also, you're buying these. I've seen people posting pictures in the stadium buying like a tray full of pies and drinks and this, that, and the other. I'm like, you're just defeating the object. You can't be going, oh, I want Kroenke out, I want new ownership, I want change, but at the same time putting in money in his pocket, because he's just laughing at you. Every single one of us that's doing it, he's laughing his fucking head off, because that's all he cares about. Him and Josh, that's all they care about. And like you said about the Fulham situation, is very similar to what Stan's doing at Arsenal. He's given with Josh. He's given him not just the veins at Arsenal. He's given him veins at pretty much everywhere. By every other ownership club he has in America, bar the Rams.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
He cares about the Rams.
Oh yeah, he loves the Rams.
He loves the Rams. So there's your caveat. He's giving him the free reign at every place apart from where he loves the most. And like you say, Ryan, with the fans, but there's always going to be another fan that takes the ticket. You know, there's always going to be if someone doesn't want it, somebody else is going to take it. As James says, he gave up his season ticket a while back. If I can just elaborate on what James said about the Ajax model, I have been living in Amsterdam for more than 15 years now, and I've seen that model firsthand. And it's simply not a case of you can't replicate it, really. You can try, but I'll give you a few reasons as to why you can't do it overnight. It was Johan Cruyff that re-energized the youth system. When I first arrived in this country, Ajax were terrible. They weren't very good. They were slipping. And they hadn't won a league title for, what was it? I think it was, off the top of my head, I think it was 8 seasons. Sounds really, really strange now, but it's true. And he helped to re-energize that. And he played such a part in the Bergkamp, Brian Roy, Marco van Basten. Cruyff was the one that put the base down for that. But the thing is, with the youth setup of Ajax, even the fans buy into it. Even before COVID, when I would attend games, as I do quite regularly, when any youth player makes their debut, even if they're coming on as a sub, if they're starting in a game, they are given a raucous reception. They are supported by the fans, their teammates, their manager, and they are looked after. They are not played in lots of different positions. They are played in their position, and they are given the time to blossom. I mean, I feel quite old, but I remember when Donny van der Beek broke through. I was there when he scored his first goal. It makes me feel quite old, but that's just one example. And everybody is together. You got Van der Sar, you got Overmars. Overmars has done a tremendous job at Ajax, but let me tell you, he did an even better job at Go Ahead Eagles, a club that he used to play for. They were staring into the abyss, literally, and he clawed them back with important signings, making sure that they did things properly. And last weekend, they were promoted back to the Eredivisie, where they're going to be playing Eredivisie football next season. Okay, Overmars has left the club a long while, but that ethos that he started to create there, and if Arsenal are serious about getting him in, it's interesting because Arsenal fans all know the footballer, whereas I've seen what he's been doing at Go Ahead Eagles and Ajax. And when you listen to him speak, even after his career, about player contracts, about money, about negotiation, you would forget he was a footballer. You would forget he was a footballer. He's that clued up on it. So it'd be interesting to see if Arsenal can get him in the long term. But like James says, if the owner's not right, then he's going to say, no, you're right. It's the same with potentially Simeone. So Simeone's just won the league. I remember Arsenal fans telling me when Wenger was leaving in, no, I don't want Simeone. I don't like his football. Atletico Madrid playing the most difficult league in the world. We're going away to Villarreal, Sevilla, Valencia, Betis. and Real Madrid and Barcelona takes an awful lot of effort, and he's managed to win a second Spanish title for I think in 11 years. People say it's only his second one, but I say only. Look what he's up against, and congratulations to Kieran Trippier as well.
Yeah.
I remember watching him for Burnley against Arsenal in 2014. I think, he's a good player. I'll keep an eye on him. And now he's won La Liga. You know, he should be starting for England. And, you know, it's funny how Southgate's squad, you touched on it at the start, 33 names. But as someone who I know on Twitter said once, Southgate's more the player's mate than a manager.
Yeah.
And you look at Didier Deschamps, you look at Fernando Santos. I'm not going to include Frank de Boer in it because I think his tactical ability will be the Dutch's undoing this summer. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I just wanted to elaborate on what James was saying, of course, because he makes some great points about Ajax. But it's nice to, as someone who's witnessed it firsthand for well over a decade, it's nice to kind of fill in the blanks and let people know about that as well.
Well, also with Ajax, I mean, we saw the other week here in the UK, they've really publicised it that because obviously everything being behind closed doors, no Ajax fans, are allowed obviously to go into the stadium at all during the Eredivisie season. They melted down the league title and made it all start, and for every single fan, season ticket holder, and obviously did the promotion work. It made out that Mark Overmars is personally going out there into the Ajax community, the Amsterdam area, and going, like, thank you for your support. This is a little piece of history. There you go. But it's some little things that you don't really see anymore. And going back on to Simeone as well, I don't care about the fucking style of football because he's a winner. He demands respect from the players. He doesn't take crap. If you don't step up to the mark, he's a bit of a George Graham. You know where the door is, but he'll get results. I mean, when he took over halfway through when he first came in, they were finished. The previous couple of seasons, they were 9th and 11th, some around mid-table basically. Yeah. And look what he's done. And ever since then, from his first full season onwards, they've always been a top 3 La Liga club. They've never fallen out the top 3. They've, as you said, 2 La Liga titles. You can't sniff at that. And amongst all that, one of them titles was fiercely contested again to the final day between them, Real Madrid, and at the time an all-conquering Barcelona, defeating nearly coming to the end of their cycle, but still a very strong Barcelona. And he still managed to do it. And obviously, he's not had the success in Europe he should have had, but and probably wants to have. But he's then come back. He's reimagined things that are Atleti, and he's turned things around. He brought in Trippier, an English right back from Tottenham, and made him even better, tactically all round right back now. That he's arguably our best right back we've got in England, thanks to him. Because he was good. He's not getting criticised. He was a good right back, but he's made him even better now. Also, João Felix, up and coming 18, 19-year-old from Benfica. He's a massive part of what's happened this season. Obviously, brought in Luis Suarez. He's brought goals to it, but he builds teams in his image. And I don't care. Again, I'll go back to it. I don't care about the style of football as long as it's providing us results, and this is the big thing. Football at any club is a results-driven business. If he's getting results, no matter how we're playing, I don't give a damn. Yes, under Wenger, we played some amazing football. Let's not get it twisted again. But sometimes you have to go to times. I mean, George Graham wasn't the most eye-catching football, but he got us results. As long as it's getting us results in silverware, and we won in Europe, exactly. As long as it's getting us results, and we're competitive and going in the right direction, I don't give a damn how we play. Why is our fan base so set in such a way? I know we had 20 years of Arsene Wenger plus, but why are they set in their ways? Have they, as I said, have they forgot about the George Graham era? One of the reasons Michael Thomas came out and said,
they don't know about it. They don't know about
Thomas,
it,
that's another problem. That's another thing. That since the Cronkies have taken over, they've not done any investment. No, they're not really invested in it. They don't get their the new signings to come in and be integrated into the Arsenal way, so to speak, like the family that is Arsenal or whatever. Whereas we don't have any Arsenal men on the. Let's be honest, Edu aside, apart from a double winning an invincible team in the early 2000s, who else is an Arsenal man at that ball, or a football man, someone that can care about the club, that knows know what they're doing? I've been saying all season, David, now Raul got sacked or whatever that have happened there, bring David O'Leary back, bring him in, give him a role at the club, be it Vinay's role at the time or now, definitely, after particularly Malarkey, give him a role, give someone that's an Arsenal man that's made a most appearance-made play in our history, over 20 plus years of service before he retired at the club, and obviously went on to be a manager at Leeds, etc. Someone that has to, someone that the fans can connect with. Bring him in, give him the Vinay role. Someone that cares and that will do everything he can for the club. Bring in, as I said, Mark Overmars. And it's not all about obviously doing the Ajax way, but it's doing something, bringing someone in to install a system that is proven, that is worked. He did it at Go Eagles. He's done it at Ajax. Why can't he come? And people will go, I mean, we've got someone in the chat saying, oh, the Ajax. We're not saying about fully taking the Ajax system. We're just saying someone that's successful at Ajax who's implemented the system, bring him here. He's another Arsenal, an Arsenal player, next Arsenal legend, a double winner. Bring him in, let him play his ideology, his philosophy into not just the first team, but in all levels of the football club. That everyone, like James said, everyone's playing the same style throughout. So you hire the manager of senior team and youth, all the youth levels below, hire managers that will be playing the exact same way. If that makes sense. And then obviously, as soon as I make the step up from the last youth system to the senior squad, there's not that sort of culture shock. They're ready to go.
The thing as well is, like you're saying, is one of the main complaints that AST had as well was the lack of communication from them two fans. You're saying putting someone like that in, or like Mark Overmars, because what happens is for people that were like myself, were lucky enough to go to Highbury during those days, before the games, sometimes if you got there early enough, David Dean was walking in and out of cars, and you could go up and have a conversation. Now, I know that side of football really isn't there to an extent anymore, but it's just, all these AGMs are being cancelled, everything else and stuff like that. I mean, I went to, I talk about glowingly about this, the Ajax system. I went to Amsterdam in 2009, and I remember doing the tour there and everything else. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic tour. I thoroughly recommend it if you're a tourist in and you're going. And they have a wall there, Ryan, where they have all their young players that have come through, and you just see the faces of some of the players that are on this wall, and you respect it. But then also, as I was walking out, I think it was Gregory Vanderville and Ubi Emanuelson were just walking around, and they're like, "Hiya, how you doing?" That kind of close contact and everything else, because that's exactly what we want. I mean, the majority of this so far has been quite negative, and we all want to be proud of our team. I love the fact that I support Arsenal. I love the history. I love the tradition of it, but a lot of it is slowly wilting away, and that is all because of these owners. As well as what's happening on the pitch. I can't sit here and blame them. They don't pick a starting 11. They don't they don't play a false 9 in a Europa semi-final, arguably our biggest game of the season. But a lot of the problem stems down. The fish goes rotten at the top of the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's very negative, but it is what it is. We have to be, not just on this podcast channel, but we all, as a Arsenal community on YouTube or on a podcast in general, we have a responsibility to say how it is. Sadly, this is the situation we are in, and things aren't going to get any better unless unless this current ownership either moves on or they stick around and actually wake up and do the right moves and stop hiring the likes of Raul, just because they used to be hired at Barcelona, for example. Because I believe that's the only reason he was hired. Oh, he's at Barcelona. Look at the success they had.
It's all short-term fixes. The man, Unai Emery's appointment, that's a guy. Oh, that's a guy that's won the Europa League. He'll get us back to where we want to be. Then we can probably sack him and get who we really want. It's all about short-term. Look at Willian, short-term signing. Maybe he'll bump us back to where we want to be. You know, the people that are around are terribly not only running it, they're terribly advising the manager that's now in place.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, Renarsson, was signed on the recommendation. I'm like, you've got to get someone above that level who goes, oh, this is the player that we've been talking about that we're looking at. And they go, no. We go back to David Dein, right? Arsene Wenger, when we signed Sol Campbell and Richard Wright, he wanted Jerzy Dudek. David Dein went, no, you're getting Richard Wright because I want more. We need more English players. We need to sign more English players. Arsene Wenger went, oh, okay then. You know, there's no one above that level that's going, what are you doing? Like that's why we keep saying Overmars. There's just got to be someone who's had experience at a decent club, and not like Sanelli, because we all know what Sanelli did. You know, he had a bad rep from Barca fans before he even come in. And look what's been alleged and what's happened there with him and the Pepe deal and everything else.
Exactly.
You know, I don't want to get in libelous claims, so I say alleged. But,
allegedly.
But it's just all wrong. It's all wrong.
It is, and as you said, it don't, as you say, and I was trying to allude on to is they don't do their due diligence. They just Barcelona are great. He used to work with them at that period, so he must be great. He'll be up. And then another thing, they every 6 to 8 months they keep changing the way they want to go. They get the blueprint and they just tear it up and you start again. No matter who the manager is, even if the manager's the same person, they'll just tear it up and go. It's like that's not going to work. How's that ever? That's never worked at any level, at any era of football where you just go, well, we're playing a certain way. You know what? I'm getting bored. I want to rip up and start again. It's like what a toddler will do. They're drawing, they're going away, doing their thing, and they just get bored and go outside the line just for the sake of it. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's massively concerning that we're constantly, and again, that things like that are constantly happening. Ivan Gazidis, before he there, brought in Sven Mislintat along with obviously Raul and all that, but he's brought Sven Mislintat in for a reason. And then he left, not long afterwards. Then not long after he left, Sven then leaves in the summer. Is that well, we've got an idea, we've got a way of doing things, but you know what, we're going to just tear it up now and go bye-bye, start again. And then that
model is what we're asking for now.
Yeah, exactly. And then but in the middle of that, when Sven left, what did we go and do? We did the Don Raul way of the little black book, shall we say, of working with agents that we'd never worked with. I mean, Kia Delabda, for example, the amount of players we had on our books up till this recently under his name, and last summer he's walking around going on lots of TalkSport, acting like he actually runs the club. Oh, they're Arsenal going to buy this one and this one and this one, and guess what? They're all on my books. They're this. The next thing you know, obviously, Raul was out the door, and then suddenly Kia went quiet, and now, obviously, David Luiz is now out. One of Kia's 8 players. Willian, it looks like he wants out, and we want him out after not even a year, guys. Not even a year, and we're gonna. But you know what? We're making profit. If he's selling, we're making profit. I don't care where he goes to.
On 200 grand a week as well.
200 grand a week, and he scored 1 goal. That's his only contribution this season. 1 shot and one goal.
200, yeah.
That's about the head of a brick wall.
He's got the same agent as they do, and to elaborate on what James was saying as well about someone above, we need to see more from the assistants, Stauvenberg, and also Steve Rounds. I've interviewed a few assistants recently. One of them was assistant to Fernando Santos at Sporting Lisbon, and another one was assistant to Cescu at Shakhtar Donetsk. They were telling me how you learn how to behave as an assistant. And one of them made a really, really good point where if you as an assistant are not helping your manager and provoking him into making different decisions, you're not helping him. and you're leaving him alone to do the job when it's supposed to be a collective. I think as well with Stauffenberg, we're linked with the young player of Feyenoord. Stauffenberg is from Rotterdam. He has links with Feyenoord, having come from the youth setup himself when you're playing. And you realise as well that football, I know myself with the players and managers that I speak to, football is a really, really small world. But we've to come away from this, the name rules. We've got to start to look at character. We've got to start to look at quality. I get on Twitter, people ridicule me all the time. Mark Albright, and he's useless. I think he's a brilliant footballer. He's a brilliant footballer. And he's a Premier League winner and an FA Cup winner with Leicester. But, oh, no, he's not good enough to play for Arsenal. James Ward-Prowse. He's played every minute of the last 2 seasons. But he's not good enough to play for Arsenal. Rubbish. Both of them are good enough to play for Arsenal. And we've got to come away from this. I have my list of players that we can sign. Have you spoken to those players? Do you know if they want to leave? Do you know about their previous?
Yeah. We've
got to start to really, really dig deep and make some difficult decisions, which some of the fans will be unhappy about. But that's life. Guys, as you know, I'm an hour ahead here in NL in Amsterdam. It's been an absolute pleasure. James, in particular, you made some great points. Really enjoyed it, and I shall catch you all very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. And James, before you go, who is your player of the season, young player of the season, and flop of the season?
Right. I think player of the season. I think it would have to be Saka. I think he got us out of so many trials. I think Saka. Apart from, obviously, I'm not going to say Saka for young player. I would say I'll give that to Smith Rowe. I remember watching Smith Rowe against for Arsenal against Sporting Lisbon in a 0-0 draw in 2018, and they were really physical that night, and you could tell he was ready to play for Arsenal then. So I'll give young player to Smith Rowe. I think flop would be I think Willian. I think 1 goal, 200 grand a week, and always being comfortable. I'm gonna put the cat among the pigeons and say that in an ideal world, I'd love a new owner. People always asking about who should we buy. I think first and foremost, we've got to go through the squad with a tooth cut, promote the young youth players that are good enough, get out for Deadwood, and only then open up the checkbook. But be interesting to see what will happen, and I'm sure there'll be lots of rumours. I mean, I see lots of Dutch players already linked, the likes of Wout Weghorst, who plays for Wolfsburg, and Sven Botman, who plays for Lille. But these are 2 players that have a head on their shoulders, silly, and they want to win things. And Wolfsburg and Weghorst at Wolfsburg, people say, "Oh, he's not very good. He's an excellent footballer. He could do a job for Arsenal." And Sven's won Lille at the age of 21. So that's all you need to know, innit? But both have got great futures ahead of them, I believe. And I look forward to catching up soon, guys. All the best.
All the best, mate.
Thank you.
And I was going to say as well, obviously you mentioned it, James mentioned it before, about obviously the young player I saw his tweet and I put a poll out basically, and I basically said, based on last summer when it was a coach recommended Van Arsene and how that's backfired and how it's all gone to pot basically in that player and doesn't look like he's got a future at the club. This was a gist of what I was trying to say. Do you think, put the poll out saying, do you think it would be a massive mistake for Arteta to continue taking recommendations from his coaches? And I think the poll finished. I'm going to double check it now, but I got a bit of abuse, not abuse, but abuse of a certain standard, but not like, you're knobhead, you're this or that, the other. But I came back and I said, look, I've no problem with players being recommended to the manager and him having a look and the club coming together and sorting things out, like we mentioned before, David Dean, when David Dean was at the club. But I'm not comfortable with coaches that are hired to be coaches telling our manager who we should sign.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
James made a good point of when you're watching them on the touch lines and everything else, and in their in-game management to help Arteta. Where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it? You got to remember these guys. All right, these guys are flops, right? In the nicest possible way. These are guys that Steve Round did very, very well at Everton to get them where they were with Moisey, right? He goes to Man United with Moisey, flops it.
Yeah.
Completely. This is a guy that took Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic the year after they've just watched the league. Won the league. To watch a video on Sylvain Distin and Jagielka at Everton and go, I want you two to defend just like that. Apparently, Rio Ferdinand and Vidic slammed the door shut, and Rio went to him. Well, I'm going as soon as I can. I'm leaving. I'm like, we've just won the Prem, and he's telling me how to play like this, Dan and Jagielka. That's how they want us to play. Do the out the back stuff. And I hate Man United. I have done. I'm a child of the '90s, so it is ingrained. Sorry, Rio Ferdinand and Vidic together. Oh my word! They'd walk into any Premier League team as a partnership. Even if they weren't the age they are now, they are the two. They're the pinnacle of what you'd want in two centre backs. And the other guy is Stuyvesant or whatever his name is. Obviously, he recommended Odegaard because he's seen him play. Sander Berge is being recommended. Sander Berge is a guy that has, and people go, oh yeah, but all you do is stats. Yeah, you do stats, but you also do the eye test. Statistically, this guy is no better than El Neni. And everyone tells me El Neni is not good enough to play for Arsenal. So if he's not good enough, what makes Sander Berge better?
Exactly. This is what our
Sander Berge is no upgrade on Granit Xhaka to me.
No. Is that this? I'm saying this is what I've been saying ever since he's named Van Daan our throats, sort of after Basuma and all that night. Mate, no. Hell,
and
please
people go, oh yeah, but look at the Liverpool when they bought Wijnaldum when Newcastle went down, or when they bought Robertson from Hull. I'm like, yeah, but you could see they were good players. You could see they were good before then.
Yeah, and before Wijnaldum went to Newcastle, he had a reputation in Holland because he came from Holland, obviously, and he had the potential there, and he was obviously raved about in Holland, and obviously Newcastle just didn't work out that season. Yeah, but you knew there was a player there, as you said.
And but then again, Jonathan's just put the comment in as well. Moyes has learnt from it. Yeah, 100%. Because he didn't take them to West Ham. Yeah. They were still before Arteta come along. Moyes was at West Ham before. He never took them with him. He got new people. He got Nolan and Alan Irvine.
Yeah.
So
Stuart Pearce.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
And again,
but these guys are good enough. I think Arteta was. I remember reading at the time he desperately wanted either Cazorla or Xabi Alonso with him, didn't he?
Alonso, he wanted, massively.
And they were like, Xabi Alonso was like, no, I'm doing my own stuff at Sociedad, isn't it? Where he is,
I think so.
And he stuck with people that were obviously familiar to him. He knew Round from Everton. He was like a father figure to him when he went to Everton. So he was like, again, it's not, I'm appointing my mates and everything else like that. It's just what you feel comfortable with. And again, if that's the case, then they've got to challenge more, because it's like what James said, it will make him a better manager.
Well, also, I mean, touching on that, it's the fact, someone mentioned about Freddie before, about how bad he is treated as an interim. I've rammed it home since Arteta has been hired, that the way that the owners and the club threw Freddie under the bus, because to say to someone you're an interim, but you know what, no matter how good you are, how much great you do in the meantime, you ain't getting considered. How the hell is he? Not just saying it privately, you're saying it publicly, so the players see it, the fans see it. How the hell is he meant to get a tune out of these players and get a turn in results then? And then your hands then forced to then go and ramp up the pressure on getting Arteta through the door the way you did.
Yeah.
And then he wonder why. Literally, he sees out the season with the club, and then goes, you know what? That's okay. Call the season's now done finally. Obviously, a few months later than usual. Yeah, I'm out of it. Bye. Because of how bad he was treated. The guy was loved he did a fantastic job at the youth level. He got promoted on the back of that, and he got treated like picked the shirt at the bottom of my fucking foot, basically. And it's like, well, hang on, you've replaced me as I was an interim, but you've then took that interim role off me for someone who's got less experience than me, and I've got to be his right hand man. No, I can't be after that. Piss off, go away. And I don't blame him.
You know what it was when he was there, obviously he sussed Ozil out right away. And do you remember the last game that he played, where it was the Everton game where Ancelotti and Arteta were sat there as if to be like, well, we're both, we're both going to have new jobs in a couple of days. Ljungberg speaks his mind. And Ljungberg would not be afraid to stand there and go, look, most of these problems are coming from these dippos that are above my head. And that's not what they want. They want somebody that just toes the line. Unai Emery that was there before couldn't communicate that probably. He didn't have the English vocabulary to explain that them lot above him aren't doing. Look at the interviews he did afterwards, where he was like, I wanted Fabinho, I wanted Zaha. I can't remember who the centre was. It Maguire or someone he wanted as well. Another centre back.
And he wanted Nzonzi. He basically wanted every player he wanted. He never got.
Yes.
He got given Socrates. He got given Lucas. He got given Pepe instead of Wilfried Zaha. After chasing Zaha all summer, they didn't ask me. He went, no, actually, we're going to go for Pepe. Yeah. It's like, yeah. And then Thomas Partey. He's he played once.
That was one he wanted as well, yeah.
Fast forward 12 months, you get him.
Yeah.
But he's not here.
No, so, I think that's the main reason why Ljungberg was chucked out like he was, because Ljungberg, like you said earlier, not going to compare him in any way, shape or form. But like you said about Diego Simeone, I don't take crap. Ljungberg had that. Ljungberg had that already. Because Ljungberg was a player. Ljungberg was a top player. He won everything in our league that had to be won.
Well, we've also heard...
apart from a League Cup, he won.
Yeah. We've also heard speculation. Both times we've interviewed Allegri, the first time especially, when it came to him asking them questions, he went, okay, you want me, obviously want the job, but you know what? I want you to sell me the project. And they thought it was arrogant. But convince me, the manager, that I want to be here and leave Juventus, and where Juventus were domestic at the time. Yeah, and they saw that as arrogant, and I'm like, that's a massive concern for me. They went from almost having an Allegri to Arteta or Unai Emery, and then obviously Unai Emery, then Arteta later on down the line. Yeah, and when Arteta was hired, I did a live stream with Colin and James, and I was saying, why it does seem like we're now set up to be a guinea pig basically for Arteta to learn his trade. Why couldn't he have gone elsewhere and learnt the trade beforehand? Because I don't care what anyone says. Again, this might be a bit biased from being an Arsenal fan, but we are a big club. We may not be competing like a big club or acting like one, but the name itself and everything Wenger built and the previous regime before Kroenke came along built, we are a big club. Yeah. We are a big attraction. Yeah. Like you said earlier, because of the name, because of where we are in the Premier League, location-wise, a manager would obviously come along and take the job that they were given it. They would love the job. We saw Benitez literally doing a come get me plea when we were interviewing to replace Unai Emery on Sky Sports. I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, but it is, as I said, but obviously times are different. But it's one of the main things that we are a big port. The big managers will want to be, because it's more of an ego thing as well. Yeah. Any manager wants to, like in Klopp when he came in at Liverpool. Yeah. Liverpool were nowhere near what they are now. Yeah. Nowhere near. They were pretty much
the other caveat that I always say, and I get a lot of flack from Arsenal fans when I say this, is most managers around the world will go, I've only got to get top 4. I ain't got to win them the league. I've only got to make top 4. So, there's probably managers out there that are currently unemployed that look at the squad even now without even investing, going, well, I could get them higher than 9th.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know what else I can say.
Sorry, was it 8th? Yeah, 8th. Sorry, I've got to place out.
It may as well.
I can get them above 8th. Yeah. With that, they would look and go, with that squad, I could get them higher than 8.
And this is the thing with the squad of players we had this season. We shouldn't be finishing 8th or anything under, or we should be. And people will go, well, we finished 8th, but we're 6 points off top 4. No, hang on, look at the money we've thrown at this squad.
Yeah,
we've given our captain, who's not really a captain in my eyes, but he's a club captain. We've given him a new deal, 300k, 350k a week, and his forms has gone since then. We've got Willian on a free, gave him 200k, and he's gone. We've got David Luiz, we've got Thomas Partey from Atletico, we've got Bernd Leno in goal, who's dropped off massively this season, but we've got players, senior players there that are good enough to get in that's in the normal under a good manager to be in the top 4. Whereas
you've got Kolasinac still earning nearly 80, 90k a week, and he's long.
Yeah. Oh, he's coming back as well. That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
That is
No, he'll be sold.
No, all jokes aside, but the point is that we have these personnel players that we should be getting a top 4 spot no matter what. No, that's not being an arrogant thing, but the money that you're throwing at a situation, the personnel we have, we shouldn't be struggling to be. Not even outside of Europe, for fuck's sake. We finished outside of Europe in terms of league spot 2 years on the trot now, and people will go, "Oh, yeah, you only had half a season." Okay, at first you sort of go, "Okay, fair enough." You know what? But second time round, in their full season, and then you get the fact now you're getting the stats from the people that are still hell bent at Arteta's our man, he's our manager, this, that, and the other. Well, if you look at the league table from Boxing Day till the end of the season, we will be third. Well, the season doesn't start in fucking Boxing Day. It starts in this season that's just gone, September 12th. It started then. That's when it started. It ends on May 23rd, 24th, give or take, whatever. That's when it ends. That's your period. If you can't, and when you finish after the 38th game, that's it. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, he's had a full season in charge. He's been massively errors after error. He treats players differently to others. He threw Pep into the bus live on TV. Week later, Xhaka protected him no matter what. Willian protected him no matter what, and played him constantly. No matter how bad Willian was, he consistently played him. We saw Willock at the start of the European campaign, back to back in a space of 7 days. Got a man of the match in European competition. No matter who the opposition is, he's still got man of the match, and he was getting dropped in the league games. He's not getting an award, and then he gets shipped out to Newcastle. And look what he's done there. Now it's Newcastle, but still he's stepped up. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a good player in there. There's a potentially good player there at our disposal. We're not managing and getting the best out of him, and he stumbled by the skin of his teeth over a situation in terms of Martinelli, Smith Rowe, and Saka on Boxing Day that's literally, as far as I'm concerned, saved his job. Getting that result against Chelsea saved him. And I've been saying all season, if there was fans in the stadium from day one, he would have been gone after Leicester or Aston Villa, especially after Aston Villa, where we just capitulated after.
I know there was only a few fans in there for Burnley, but I thought he was lucky to make it out then.
Exactly. I mean, but he's not learned. He's never learned from the mistakes. He's constantly making the same mistakes over and over again. He's been in charge now for a year and a half, basically now. He got hired last December 4 and all that. Year and a half. He doesn't know his best 11. He constantly changes his back 4. His spine, as I said, because he changes his back 4, isn't what it should be. He constantly changes the midfield. He puts a Partey and Xhaka are available, but there's a situation where Tierney, or is it that after the season where Tierney's been injured, he puts Xhaka at left back and then puts a band-aid basically next to bloody Thomas Partey inside, for example, Danny Ceballos, someone that's not committed to the club long term. He's obviously, by the way, confirmed that he is not coming back. That's it. This, that, and the other. Good luck to him and all that. But and El Neni and this, but it's and again we've got players. And the thing that annoyed me most with Granit Xhaka being played at left back, because we've got a player on the bench consistently playing that can play left back. Mm-hmm. He's not a natural left back, but he can play left back.
I mean, this is an argument I had the other day.
Cedric
was brought in to help him get to the Euros for Portugal.
Yeah.
I'm like, that guy must hate you, or he must be the most nicest guy in the world. Because if it was me, I'd be like, hang on a sec, you played a centre midfielder at left back instead of me.
And it's made him look bad.
I'm not going to the Euros now.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
going.
of that. That's what he said. 100% agree. That's the reason, because the Portugal manager would have seen that and gone, hang on, centre mid playing your position. What the hell?
Cedric's either the nicest guy in the world, or he's paid very, very well. And he doesn't care. It's one or the other. It's one or the other.
I've heard things that he's absolutely livid with Arteta after one mistake.
He's been
dropped, and he should be. That's exactly said. He should be. That's the mentality. Again, that's the mentality we should have. We've heard.
And if you look at the
non-negotiables,
if you look at the mistake that he made, right? Okay, it was a howler, yeah. But Rob Holding could have bailed him out.
Yeah.
And I think Rob Holding's had a much better season than other people. I think Rob Holding should stay as a squad player. I don't see him as a starter, but I would definitely have him as a squad player. But when that mistake happened, Cedric made the mistake, but Holding could have still put the fire out. But he let, I mean, you let Watkins turn and have that much. He must have been licking his lips thinking, I've got all the time in the world to turn and smack that.
I don't know what's going on in the chat, by the way, because someone update me, because there's a bit of a kick-off in the chat. And I don't know what's going on, so someone update me quickly. Someone update me and let me know, and I'll put an end to it, because there's no need for kicking off and all that crap. But yeah, I mean, and also there's also that as well. Back just before the season starts, where he's back and forth with 1 minute. Ainsley's off to Wolves. Last minute, Paul Savard notice staying put, doesn't play him again. But then doesn't play him, and then loans him out to West Brom. Holding on the verge of going to Newcastle on over the season. Last minute, no, I need you here. It's so many. Again, it's them things. It's that hesitant of not sure of what you want to do. It seeps into the players, and then it's an experience. Yeah,
that's the main thing. It's inexperience.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main concern for me. That going forward, he hasn't learned that. Always, he's shown me no sign this season that he's gonna improve.
Yeah,
but he's gonna learn from his mistakes. Full stop. So for me, he should have after the game on Sunday. We should have had a statement come out about an hour or two afterwards saying we parted company. We're now looking for a new manager of Arsenal Football Club. But we're not seeing that. Yeah. And that's concerning. That, again, after all the PR bollocks that was rammed down our throat, that Stan Kroenke and Josh, they want to get us back competing, back in Europe, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League. Well, hang on, you're letting someone take us down further and further. It's not doing anything mistakes. What's it to be? You're proving the fans right, because you've always said you don't care. And you're proving us right. You're liars or this or that.
And the thing is, as well, is people will they'll start pumping out, the Euros is on and it's just after a pandemic and the market, and I don't want to hear it. No. I don't want to hear it. If you're serious, and again, if you're backing this manager, like you keep telling us, all your feed into Ornstein and everybody else is, this is our man, this is the guy, then you got to show it. Because Hart is saying, oh, there's going to be a sale and it's going to be great. We're going to get someone new in and everything's going to be hunky-dory. But my head is like, they're both staying. So I've got to back them begrudgingly. It's not what I want to do, but it's what's going to happen. So begrudgingly, I have to accept that. And you got to show us. None of this be excited bollocks. Just I would rather you be completely quiet and just go about, like I've got here, little pen, little bit of paper. Right. I need, if Leno's going to go, I need a top tier goalkeeper. Now, the top tier goalkeeper that I wanted, Magnan from Lille, is apparently signing for AC Milan because Donnarumma's leaving. So he's gone now. So that's one of the goalkeepers I wanted gone.
The next one's Donnarumma.
Yeah. But this is the thing. I'm like, because he's over here. And like I said, you've got to stay over here now, mate. You can't go back. You can't be. Your full focus has to be Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said earlier in the on the podcast. If he's not going to do that, he needs to hire someone that will.
Yeah.
Someone that's
or get out.
That being the obvious choice for everyone. But if you're going to stay, but you can't come over and commit, you need to hire someone here that knows the club, knows football, knows what they're doing. That can be your eyes and ears, and be your communicator between us and them.
Yeah.
Instead of this hands-off approach, because it's not working.
No.
In what universe do they think this is working? In what universe do they think? Because I've listened back to the forum they did a few weeks ago after the Super League fell apart, when you could tell Josh and Vinay didn't want to be there, but they were just there for damage control, basically.
Yeah.
But what universe did Josh ever believe that we ever trusted these people, him or his dad?
This is the thing. Now, if you want to win the Premier League, you got to spend it to get it, or you got to love it, because the last one before that is less. People argue, well, it's not really an argument, but you look at Leicester. Okay, they had a foreign investment and they bought quite a few good players and everything else, but they went for a risky appointment in Ranieri. That was not where was he? Cyprus? Was he Cyprus national team manager or something, and flopped? And everyone went, Ranieri, really?
Claudio Ranieri,
and you fluked it and you went for it, and that probably isn't. But then again, people go Liverpool. Liverpool's owners aren't really talked about as being the greatest, but they banked on a big manager. And then what did they do with that big manager? They bankrolled every single thing he wanted. Goalkeeper, centre-back, wingers, midfielders.
Whatever he wanted, he got. There's none of this. None of this. I want this. No, actually, you want Mane? No, we'll go with, for example, Theo Walcott. For example, just to throw it out there. Yeah. So so if they're not going to spend big, then you got to appoint someone that's going to do that job for you, or otherwise you're just going to stay as we are now. And no, can't. No. Because I think, as I said, I've been watching a few of James's appearances on other pod channels and what he puts out on Twitter as well, and he's right. Under this ownership, I am, like him, very sad that in the way they're going, the way they handle things, that we could be relegated.
Yes.
And again, like I said earlier, there's no guarantee we're going to come back. We're going to come straight back, because they're not built like that.
No. My dad years ago was saying that the way this club's going, we're going to be the new Leeds, and I would dismiss him. I'd tell him that, no, Dad, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And I have to apologise to him now and go, you could be right. You could be right.
Do you, obviously, before you start wrapping things up soon, do you think there's any sort of wiggle room for Daniel Ek to get his way here? And obviously Bergkamp. The fact that Bergkamp, Vieira now coming out along with one, Oxlade was the first to come out, then Bergkamp, and then Vieira over the weekend has said what he's had to say as well. So they're not going. It doesn't seem like any of them are going away. They're here for the long run, and he's been aggressive. For what Bergkamp said, he hasn't just made the one bid; he's made multiple bids now. Yeah. So he's been more aggressive than fucking Uzmanov ever was. And we look at how we all wanted Uzmanov to take over from Kroenke and buy him out. Yeah, Uzmanov was very standoffish. He made that first bid.
Remember the banners that were put up? Love Arsenal, hate Uzmanov. You know,
exactly.
People didn't. Oh no, we don't want to do it that way. Oh, we don't want to be like Chelsea. I'd rather be like Chelsea now.
Yeah,
I'd love to be like Chelsea.
Yeah. And another thing that you mentioned earlier about Chelsea, obviously, and Man City, the mentality that in terms of Chelsea, they're not just sugar daddy. Obviously, Roman's not just a sugar daddy to the club. He demands nothing more than the best. He wants to be number one, no matter what. Hence why there is a roller coaster in, out, but mentality of the higher and finer managers. If you don't, he sets targets. If you ain't going to meet them, you're out.
Yeah. No
matter who you are.
Yep.
And it's never going to change. And again, that mentality seeps through the whole club, all the way through into the coaching staff, who they may be, into the players. And even when it seeps into the players, it doesn't come out of them. When the manager gets sacked, it stays within them because they know what is expected. We haven't had that since Kroenke's arrived on these shores to start buying shares at this club. It's slowly and gradually. The second he became a majority shareholder back in 2010, 2011, whenever it was, I think it was 2010 that he officially started becoming a majority shareholder. This, what we're seeing now, was a long time coming. It has been coming literally year by year. We're going backwards and backwards and backwards. We'd always fight for fourth and just get over the line, see off the Aston Villas of this world back when Martin O'Neill was here and all that. And now we're in a position where we've fallen out of Champions League, and then we're not just fallen out of Champions League. We're then over the last 4 years now fallen out of Europe. 25 years, as we say, 25 years. No other club in England has done that in this day and age. And yet that's gone now. And now we've got a rebuild. And as we say, it's going to be an absolutely humongous summer. No matter if Josh stays, or Josh and Stan stay, or Daniel Ek comes in, whoever's owner of this club has got a massive job to do.
Yeah. It was massive in January when we got rid of all those big earners. Everyone was going, well, Christ, okay, this is going to... But it's even bigger than that now. It was bigger then. It was bigger in January. In January, it was a big job. Now it's even bigger. It's even bigger because for me, I'm like, come October, end of October / start of November, if we're not comfortably in the top 4 by about 6 or 9 points, see you later. See you later.
Yeah.
There's no we're playing less games.
Yeah.
Than all these others. They're some of the other rivals, they're travelling, especially one
back
rival. They're going even further than
to Timbuktu and back.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't, we've got to come out the blocks flying from our first, whatever our first game is.
Yeah, no matter who the manager is.
We got to start going.
Yeah.
Going.
Exactly. I mean, Gary in the chat says Arsenal don't need a Mr. Moneybags. We're not saying that we need someone a sugar daddy. We're just saying we need an owner that cares, that knows what he's doing. And as you say, it goes on to say Arsenal needs an owner, a board who demand accountability from their employees. Exactly. That's what we're not having at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. And I think with Daniel Ek, you'll get that, especially with the consortium he's built around him in terms of the Henry, Bergkamp, and Vieira, of that generation that you inherited, the mentality of demanding and having accountability for their own fuck ups.
James said it earlier. Dennis Bergkamp don't really talk much.
No, and the fact he's come out.
But I remember Ian Wright always used to say, and Ian Wright's hero.
Oh, Ian Wright loves him. Ian Wright loves him.
Well, Ian Wright said, when Dennis Bergkamp speaks, you listen. And that's, that's the quotes that come out from him. Yeah. That made me think, well, okay. Because there's a lot of people saying this is a PR stunt for him to get more people to sign up to Spotify. And I'm like, well, that don't indicate that from what Dennis,
that's what I'm saying. Out of the three ex-players that have been put into this consortium, that's the one I've listened to. That's the one I read, and I can believe it's not publicity. I've been saying it from day one. It's not publicity, but that confirms it. There's meat to the bone. He's not giving up. He's not just going, "Oh, there's a bid. You've rejected it, so I'm going to go. It's down on the table. I'm just going to go away now and wait for you to come back to me." He's gone back and gone, "No, there's another bid." And now we're hearing and since all that's come out, we're hearing that Stan would be willing to sell his club for around $2 billion, and people are going, "Well, that's most of the Daniel's Daniel Ek's net worth and all that, where you don't have money for us." I mean, you've got to remember, with a consortium, there's going to be people that we know, obviously Daniel Ek and Vieira, Bergkamp, Henry, but there's going to be there's people in that consortium as we speak, the silent members, I would say, the ones that don't put themselves out there, the ones that are just funding it basically, and that have a place in the board if it's supposed to go through.
Do you not think if
it's going to if it's going to bankrupt him,
if it's not Daniel Ek, whoever it could be who owns it, do you not think when they come in, they can't go to, with all their businesses and all the people they know, networking and everything, do you not think they might have a mate who's even richer than them that they could go to and go, "Mate, I own this football club here. Like, come have a look at this, what I've got. Like, come and get involved." Because that's what all the others do. Look at the guy that used to be with us that's now at Everton. He brought Usmanov. What's the guy's name? He's got Usman.
Yeah, because he sold his shares to Usmanov in the first place at Arsenal.
Yeah. And he's at Everton now, and he's brought Usmanov. Usmanov's bought that whole new training ground. They've got that new ground that they're moving into.
They funded a new ground and all that.
What was that guy's name? Was it?
Oh,
was it? It wasn't Mashari, was it?
I think it might have been. It rings a bell.
Let's quickly do. I don't want you to have dead air. I'll quickly do a Google if you want to pull something. Yeah,
No,
Mashiri.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I was right. Yeah. He's got Usmanov in there, paying for everything, but he's the face.
Yeah. And look at again the mentality there. I know they've since he's come along, they've brought in some players that have potential but not quite there. But there's an idea in place. There's a philosophy. You don't go for your first manager you actually properly hire in Carlo Ancelotti if you don't have an idea of where you want to be and where you want to go. And he doesn't bite. And Ancelotti doesn't turn up and goes, "Oh yeah, Everton, yeah, why not?" So for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm. And their statements that they pump out as well is like they said. They went, "Look, Manchester has one team in red, one team in blue, and everyone talks about that city. We're going to have people talking about that." As soon as Liverpool won the league, they went, "We're going to turn this city into the blue and red of the UK. That will be the rivalry, not the one that's further down." So, they're talking a big game and they're doing the bits. Okay, all right, they flopped it. They didn't get where they wanted to go.
But it's a process. For them, it's a process.
And Ancelotti's experience, and he'll learn, like you said, about learning. And Duncan Ferguson, that's a guy that ain't going to take crap. So he'll probably be egging him on, going, "Hey, look." And you know what? Everton, they might sell one or two that they've got there. Their fans, but it'll be how they reinvest that money and go. Calvert-Lewin might not stay there forever.
Maybe might be gone with some, maybe.
But whoever. But they'll reinvest that money and they'll try everything to get to where they would need to be. And we've got to try and do the same.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that goes for whoever will be the owner of this club come. Well, this obviously this next season, basically going forward.
Yeah.
In which Danuek, don't get toys out of him no matter how. If he does get it over the line, don't expect things to change overnight. He's got a lot of, no matter who comes in, if it was a new owner, they've got a massive mess to fucking fix because of these idiots in charge at the moment. Let's put it bluntly. Mm-hmm. And if it's the same owner but a new manager, they've still got a mess to sort out the player personnel. Because as I said earlier, that's a manager inheriting 3 managers worth of players.
Yeah.
In terms of you've got Xhaka there from fucking back in Wenger's day, for example. Bellerin could be. I don't know what's happening with Bellerin. He might be gone. He might be staying. We don't know. But there's players there still from Wenger's time. And how long ago? Well, we're now 2021. That's 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
We've still not got rid of all the Wenger players. We've got Unai Emery players as well, obviously, because today and Guendouzi could be going. But we've still got them sort of players there. We've got a majority of our set of players that he wants and he brought in this, that, and the other. So that person's got to come in, as I said earlier, do Jules Graham and say, you know what? Depending on when they get brought in, all right, I'm going to give you the pre-season. You've got to prove to me that you're going to bend the knee to me and basically play the way I want to play. If not, I'll get you out of it. But in the meantime, work for me and I'll help you. And you help me out, I'll help you out, basically. Mm-hmm. But he's going to have to find a balance, because I don't believe this ownership will back whoever the manager is. They will not back that person, no matter who it is. He's got to work the market to benefit him. And
that's it. We just got to be more clever, because we're not going to. People go, oh yeah, no. If they want to prove it, they've got to give him 250, 300 million. They're not going to give him 250 to 300 million. They're just not going to. They're not them people. They're not them people. So it's a case of being quick. Like I said earlier, I don't want to hear all this. Oh, the Euros is on, and we want to watch it. We don't want to do transfer stuff. We want to watch the games. No. Oh, it's after a pandemic. No, because other clubs will go about doing their. As soon as that transfer window opens, I bet you Chelsea, City, and all the others will have at least 2 or 3 sorted. I reckon after Sunday, before Guardiola maybe even after Guardiola has the game Saturday, regardless of the result, they're going to go to him. What do you need to do this again next year? and not only win the league, but maybe win the champion. What's it going to take for you to retain both of these next year, Pep? What do you need? And they go and get it done.
Yeah,
and they've got the money to go and do it, but
But it's also having the right person. It's not all, as I was trying to say, it's not about having just the money. It's having the right personnel in place in the right areas throughout the entire club, and then installing the mentality, like you see at Chelsea and Man City, of wanting to be the best, win at all costs. So money is one thing, but you've got to have the right players, the right personnel in terms of the board, all the way down to the personnel on the pitch.
Exactly.
Until that happens, you won't see any change at Arsenal.
No.
Let's be honest, and this is why I've been saying, repeat myself all season. I've been saying, if the Cronkies are going to stay and they're going to do this and this and the other, they want to get our fans back on board and show that they actually do give a shit and they want to change the mentality and demand and win this, that, and the other. Vinay can piss off now fully. Bring in David O'Leary, put David O'Leary in Vinay's place. Bring Overmars in. Edu can go and learn his trade elsewhere. Bring Overmars in, someone that knows what he's doing and go and get. Then you got Mark Overmars, who's an experienced man in his role.
Edu don't really. For me, Edu don't have to go. Edu can still stay.
But I'm saying he can work alongside. Yeah. I'm not saying Edu go out. I'm saying Edu can work alongside Overmars for a few years and learn the trade that way. Because otherwise, you've got a rookie.
The benefit that Edu has is a bit like when Wenger was here beforehand, years and years ago. He had that scoop on the French market before everybody else. That guy knows that there's players out there in Brazil like Martinelli, and he can go bang, 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 bang. Let's get. But have it collaboratively, like you've said. Overmars could probably teach him more. Get these people to help.
Yeah, exactly. And because as it stands, we've got a rookie manager, with all due respect, with Edu, director of football, because all he knows is to start the Brazilian market.
Yeah.
If we can combine what he knows and what Overmars already knows with the rest of the world, you could make something so unique and so different that takes us in a positive direction. And then again, as I said, David O'Leary replacing Vinay, you've got someone that cares about the club, that knows the club, that the fans love and know, that have the best interest of the club at heart, and can be your eyes and ears as well. And then also, if you want, for example, if you want David O'Leary just to concentrate on one part of things, you can then also go and get the likes of your Tony Adams of this world or whatever, someone that's going to be the eyes and ears that can just be on the board and be your eyes and ears here, and communicate to you back and forth every week or whatever. Look, this is what's going right or this is what's going wrong. This is where we need to sort things out, address. This person isn't stepping up in this role. He needs to go. This person needs to come in. And build that sort of connect. And again, you may start going in the right direction. And then doing all that on the board level, you then, once you've done that, need to then address the manager role. Because Arteta hasn't worked, no matter how much we wanted it to work as a fan base, because we don't want to become a sacking club, this, that, and the other, whatever wants to look at it. But it hasn't worked. So he has to be sacked. I'm sorry to say he has to be sacked. End of. You then have to again go out and hire not just an experienced manager, but a manager where you're going to stick with for 3-4 years and back him for them 3-4 years to the point where he's going to have men behind him, like the Overmars and all that, where he hasn't got to put it all on him. All he has to do is be the head coach. Don't give him a manager's role, give him a head coach role. That was another mistake that Arsenal, the Cronkies, have made. Well, we started off with, he's winning the FA Cup, you're the manager now. And put more responsibility. No, just hire a head coach. Someone that's going to be the literal go-between of, okay, I want these players, but at the same time, I'm going to leave you to do that over Mars and Edu or whoever, but I'm going to concentrate on the training pitch week in, week out. And as you said, next season, we've got 38 games, league games, a few FA Cup games if we're lucky enough, and League Cup. So most of the season, he's going to be literally from Saturday to Saturday in that little spot on a training pitch with the players.
It was coming out from the club as well that they hated the Thursday, Sunday. The players hated it, the staff, the medical staff, everything. So I'm like, well, you've got everything now sort of comfortable, more comfortable per se.
More easy, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear the excuses. Like I said earlier, you got to be 6 or 9 points comfortably in top 4.
But October, early November.
November. Yeah. Otherwise, jog on.
Exactly.
They've got to go. If the owners aren't going to go, it falls on the manager, and the manager's got to go.
Fabrizio's one sec. My phone's now going mad because Fabrizio's now tweeting, for God's sake. Yay.
Who are we signing?
Well, according to him, Ben Dwyer is one of Arsenal's options. We've known it for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like it to be.
That Arsenal are seriously considering it as a potential new signing. He's appreciated, and the Arsenal FC board have restarted contacts with his agents after opening talks with back in December. Ben Dwyer would accept a move to Arsenal. Good. Now he's waiting. Good. So Ben Dwyer wants to come, apparently.
Good. Want him here. Great player.
Again, I don't care where he's come from. He's quality. He'll automatically improve us. And I think I said, I think it was the last show we did last week. I think it was for the watching on for the Palace game. And we were talking about the potential midfield for next season, and we were all purring at the idea of having a Partey, Basuma, and Ben Dwyer midfield. What that would do for us, and how much drastically that improves us as a midfield. Yeah. And also in Ben Dwyer, you're adding goals. Look at the goals he's scored. He's been a massive part of their promotion chase this season, bigger than what he was the first time out.
Plays more than one position as well, which Arteta loves. Arteta loves versatility. I mean, if you sign Buendia, people are going, oh yeah, but then that ruins Emil Smith-Rowe as cam. Well, you can put him on the left.
But again, Smith-Rowe can play anywhere across the front line. Yeah, obviously apart from striker, but in terms of the Wiggins and that cam, he can play anywhere. And like you said, so can Dwyer. And they're saying that, but Odegaard's the same situation. We brought him in on loan. Oh, it could stunt him. They played. Arteta showed he could play them together if he wanted to, or bring a one on and bring one off. This, that, and the other. There's options. He had options because they're so versatile, and one of them being obviously Smith-Rowe being so young. 20 years, gone on 21, still mouldy. Still hasn't come to his full potential. He hasn't reached that peak age yet, obviously. Yeah. Where he obviously just levels out, and that's what he's going to be for the rest of his career. He could be so versatile, it's unreal. So it could be even better. The more versatile he is now, the better he's going to be once he hits his peak years. And that's another positive. But so it's not just why are we going for Ben Dwyer? Ben Dwyer is going to start. Obviously, as you say, people are going to say he's going to start Smith-Rowe. That's no guarantee at all. They can play together week in, week out.
Yeah,
Martinelli. We're being told Martinelli's going to be a key part of our strike as a striker. Him and Balogun and whoever next season. So you're going to have you could play Smith-Rowe on the left hand side, or Saka or whatever Pepe. There's going to be so many options, but we need better players, and Ben Dwyer is going to be one of them.
Yeah.
And again, another thing people are going to throw is again going back to what we said earlier about the snobbery of our fan base. Oh, but he's from Norwich. He's just from the Championship. He only played one season at Premier League level. Again, go back to your history. Read the history of your fucking club. When George Graham came in, what did he do? He outed the experienced players that weren't good enough. He invested in the youth, but he then invested in players like Steve Bold, Lee Dixon from Stoke, Perry Groves from Colchester. Trying to think now. Winterburn from Wimbledon. David Seaman from QPR, even though he's started to be established, but it's still from a smaller club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just for example, Alan Smith from Leicester City, smaller clubs than us, and look what happened. Part of a good the start of what's nearly over 30 years of putting us on the map. Basically, that was the start of it. Look at all that. So he can work again. It had to go. Oh, that's 30 years ago. But okay. When Klopp came in, his first summer window, what did he go and do? One Eldon, just been relegated with Newcastle. Robertson has just been relegated with Hull. Mane was just obviously with Southampton. They're just there in about in relegation, like surviving relegation, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I talk a lot when I do purely Arsenal. That mainly I use stats quite a lot. I freely admit that. But then also, as well as stats, I use the eye test. And I'm like, Buendia passes both for me. He creates. He's creating chances galore like that at the team that he's in. You put him with better players. I mean,
Exactly.
You asked James all the questions earlier. His flop was Willian. I put Aubameyang for mine. He scored 15 goals compared to 29 the season before. He looks a shell of himself. You know, okay, he's been ill. He's had the family issues and everything else. I believe he's going to stay. Do I want him to stay? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think Lacazette might go, and he'll be the one because we've outlaid all that money.
One of them will go this summer.
Exactly, but I'm like the outlay has gone on Aubameyang, so it indicates you're probably going to keep him over Lacazette because you've spent all that money. So you need to get him firing back on all cylinders. A player like Buendia feeding someone like Aubameyang could help massively.
Yeah, exactly. And again, Buendia he's a young player still in that sense.
Yeah.
He's got a lot. He's got a few years. He's got a good few years,
And
so we can get out of him.
Aubameyang's getting older, and the pace might not be at the level that it was. But if you look at Vardy, he's gotten older. But Brendan Rodgers has gone Maddison. You know, he's built all these players. And where did Maddison come from? Norwich.
Oh,
remember? Yeah. So
your dad, Stefan, is an Ipswich fan in the chat. Yeah, that's another thing. Even that, Maddison, everyone was like, "Oh, we went to Leicester. What they doing?" But it's again, he's come from the champions because they weren't nowhere near the Premier League at that time. But they invested Leicester. This is another thing about Leicester. Massive. Not just the owners care. They put the right people in place to recruit. It's fantastic there. Look at the players over the last 6-7 years they brought in. Have gone on to be some of the best players in the world.
Yeah,
Mahrez, Kante, Vardy. Obviously, Kasper Schmeichel brought him in when they were at the Championship level and all that.
Yeah,
James Maddison now. Fofana.
Yeah,
They brought Johnny Evans in.
Johnny Evans, who wasn't good enough to play for Arsenal.
Wasn't good enough for us. Remember our fan base and all that, and that's on other channels. Yeah. We don't want no West Brom League. Look what he's done there. He just won an FA Cup, part of an FA Cup winning team. Yeah. Obviously, the back-to-back falling out Champions League on the final day doesn't help them, but that's not their fault. That's more so down to the manager and his tactics at the end and overdoing it so much that they burn out near the end.
Yeah,
that's where he needs to start. Brendan needs to sort that out.
Yeah,
over at Leicester. But there's fantastic players there. I mean, what was it? The guy they got from Porto, the right back, Ricardo.
Yeah,
another fantastic find. Not an absolute well beaten. You put when you read the first time. He's fantastic.
Who was the other one they signed from Atalanta that was? He was raking in everyone's fantasy football points at the start of the year. Who was that guy? He's brilliant. Brilliant. He was fullback as well. Yeah.
Oh, was it James Justin or something like that?
No.
I can't remember his name. Now. His name now.
Let's have a look. See if
I know you're on about, but I can't remember his name. But
yeah. Castagni.
So that's the one.
Yeah.
Castagni.
Yeah. Just buying smart.
Yeah, buying smart and not for not
for big money either. No, you don't break the bank.
Yeah, that's it. Adam got in the chat as well. Arsenal Misfit says Vardy only scored 4 goals in his last 15 games, but again, he is getting on now. He's going to start slowing down. That's where obviously we've seen the emergence of Iheanacho for Leicester in the last latter half of this season coming through. But the point we're making is that obviously with Vardy, he's been getting older and older. He won a Golden Boot last year. But Brendan came in and he's worked with what he had, and he had a world-class striker. Let's be honest, and Jamie Vardy at the time. Now he was getting older, but he went. You know what? I'm going to buy this person, that person. I'm going to build a team around you and help to your best ability, get the best out of you whilst I can, until you have to obviously either move on or retire or whatever. And then obviously in the meantime, he's obviously brought in other strikers. He inherited Iheanacho and obviously try and look into other strikers to come in immediately and lift off sort of thing. And again, there's something we've got to do at Arsenal. I mean, as I said, Aubameyang's not getting any younger now. He's, what was he, 31,
He'll be
32?
32 by the time the new season starts, isn't it?
Jesus
I think?
Christ. Same age as me, Jesus Christ. But yeah, basically, he's going to be 32. So he's got, realistically, another season at Arsenal if he's that, basically. But with the money we put into it, another season at least. We need to now be looking this next 12 months, either using Balogun Martinelli as the future striker of the club,
or a new one if we go out.
Or if they ain't comfortable, they haven't proved themselves in this 12-month period now, between now and this time next year. As you said, go and buy a new one. But in the meantime, you've got two people there you can sort of tinker with now. But yeah, oh dear, Vardy's 34 apparently. Yeah, exactly. He's got another year. He's got one more season at Premier League level, I think, and he'll start. He'll either retire fully or he'll just go down the leagues or whatever, go back to the Championship or whatever he wants to do. But again, the reason he's not had long at Premier League level is because, like Ian Wright back in the day, he came in, he got given a chance later on in his career. He didn't get the chance early in his early years.
No.
People rave about Klopp signings, but what about Minamino, Sakiri, Chamberlain, and Keita? Again, they're going to be flops. He's made flops.
Every manager has duds.
Yeah,
find me one who doesn't. We've signed
Wenger.
so much crap; it's unbelievable.
Arsene Wenger, Stefanos Gruzny, Ferguson. But I'm saying Arsene Wenger, Stefanos, Oleg Gruzny, Rami Shaban. Trying to think.
Seagan,
Bischoff, fucking hell, Jesus.
Gervinho, Scalacci. Where do I keep going? Where do you want me to stop?
Andre Santos.
The
Brazilian fucking bulldozer in Julio Baptista, even though it was a loan, he still technically signed him. Trying to think now. Oh, my days. What was it? I don't think now. What's his name? Denilson.
Yeah, Miachi.
Rio Miachi. The next best thing.
Park Chu Young, whatever his name was.
Yeah. Oh dear. Oh, I've got Pog back in the. I've got a new face in the chat by the looks of it. Big up the boys. Mr. Arsenal podcast. Big up you guys. I am Adam's brother. Okay, fair enough. That's cool. And see you, a Man United fan. Good luck tomorrow. You're not going to need it because you will beat the specialist in your Europa League.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
Well, Cavani's giving it all that, isn't he? Already giving it all that to Unai Emery, so you know what's going to happen. Unai Emery being, and I said it was sods. I knew obviously we'll get rid of Real. I knew if they knock us out, they're going to go. I said if they knock us out, they're going to go on to win it.
Yeah. I'd love them. I'd love them to. I'd love them to.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather what that sort of. I don't know if it's sweetening the pain or not, because it's obviously the manager we had to put us in this position in the first place.
Remember in
Lucas Perez.
Remember in Alex Ferguson's biography, and he wrote about the 8-2, and he said, they brought on this guy called Coquelin. Who the hell is that?
Coquelin. Watch Jenkinson.
Watch Coquelin score tomorrow. Watch him score tomorrow for Villarreal. And then he'll go, do you know who I am now? Do you know who I am now? Yeah. Watch it.
Oh, dear.
I'd love to see it.
Oh, mate.
Life works in cruel ways, mate. It really does.
Full circle. Put it that way. Oh, dear. Adam, we do not trust the process. Trust me. Jesus Christ. Winding us up now in the chat. Behave yourself. I always want English Cup to win in Europe, says Stefan. Frimpong, we didn't sign him. He came from our academy. Frimpong. Yeah. But I get what he's trying to say. But that's the point. Yeah, Klopp's made mistakes, but Wenger made mistakes. Ferguson made mistakes.
Every top manager.
What was that goalkeeper? What was it? Taibbi.
Yeah.
Done by a P-roll.
Yeah. It wasn't just him. They had a few goalkeepers, didn't they? Was it Bosnich, the Aussie? He was terrible. Mark Bosnich, the person, as you said, terrible goalkeeper, but also had personal issues he couldn't deal with often. He couldn't behave himself, so he say. But Fabian Barthez was,
okay. He was decent. He wasn't, but he
I
he
like
had
Barthez.
errors.
I remember when he threw the ball out to Henri in
Yeah.
the double year. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Great assist. I love
Threw
that.
it out to him. Even passed it to him at one point.
Yeah. I loved him. I love Barthez.
Oh dear. Scalacci, fucking Kim Kallstrom.
I won't have
Jesus
Kallstrom
Christ.
slander. He scored a semi-final penalty. I won't have
That's
Kallstrom.
what he ended our drought.
Yeah. I've got a lot of respect for Kallstrom.
Jonathan said, but Arteta isn't allowed. Oh, look, he's allowed to make mistakes.
Of course. No.
We're not saying in terms of signings he's not allowed to make mistakes. I've said numerous times this season, bar Willian, all the other signings that Arteta has made have worked. And it's not. Let's be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Mari's worked. Cedric, to an extent, has worked. What's his name? What was it? Thomas Partey. We're not seeing a full potential of him yet because he's been injured when he first came. This, that, and the other. But we started seeing near the end of the last few weeks. So we're starting to see that player we signed.
Odegaard showing glimpses.
Odegaard. Even
Matty Ryan got a brilliant assist.
And fantastic
jumping in the air. Great header. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic header back. But that's weird. But that's what I'm saying. Them signings apart from Willian and Van Arsene, who was technically not his player, by the way. It's someone that was recommended to him. It all went perfect with Martinez, and Martinez went off. So 2 players out of 7 or 8 signings haven't worked. That's not a bad thing. But that's something if we sort of take our hats off to Arteta for, because there's been players that he's wanted, and most of them have worked out, apart from the 2 we've just mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's the other stuff we can't let go. That the fact is, on the pitch, when it comes down to the game day itself, there's no style to our football anymore, in the sense of he's meant to bring a attacking style of football back when he first joined us. Never happened.
No.
It's just dull, negative, and even in a European semi-final, and all we've got to do is win 1-0 at home. 1-0, just a 1-0 win. Look how we played.
Yeah.
And look at the risks he takes in both the legs, playing a false 9 in the first leg because it worked with under his apprentice, but he's the person that brought him up in Pep Guardiola gave him that chance as a coach, and this, that, and the other. Oh, because my best friend did it, so you know what? I'll try it the next day. It's like we haven't got the personnel to do things at the moment, and again, he hasn't learnt that, and he keeps chopping and changing. He'll drop players that are in form for out of form players as well. I mean, the amount of time Pepe will hit form and then suddenly, no, you're on the bench again. Fuck off.
Yeah,
the
argument I would say as well.
It's just tactically inept. He doesn't learn from the mistakes. Full stop.
And the thing as well is, Jonathan, is he's allowed to. Yeah, I agree. He's allowed to have that mistake with Willian. However, when the evidence indicated that he was still a mistake, he kept on playing him. And okay, the Leicester game, phenomenal. The Leicester away, he had a great game, and he scored a very good free kick. But overall, judging on the full season, the guy was terrible. The guy was a terrible, terrible signing.
Yep. Adam's in the chat's asking if we heard about Lehmann's comments recently. I've not seen it, but I've heard of what's gone on. That is being dealt with. Obviously, he has been sacked by the club that he was hired by. He's been investigated into. So until that's dealt with, we can't really look much more into that until it's fully done and dusted. But don't condone it. Far from it. He shouldn't have said what he said. But again, am I surprised? No, because it's Den's name, and he's an absolute nutcase. He says it. He just says things randomly. As it. No, he has no filter, basically. Then, but doesn't. Again, I'm not condoning what he's done at all. But that's for them to deal with over in Germany and all that. With the German FA, and also they'll be investigating and looking into it and punishing him for that because it doesn't look good on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, don't know what else we've got to say. We've got to sort of start wrapping things up soon. But as you said your flop would be Aubameyang because obviously what's happened this season.
Yeah.
He's just literally dropped off a fucking cliff. Basically, he's literally the second he's under contract, he's a
yeah.
So who's our player and young player of the year?
It's the same as what James said earlier. You have to give it to Saka, and I didn't want to give Saka both. He could easily walk both.
Could easily
walk both. But yeah, Saka for me, from the third game of the season against Leicester in the Carabao Cup, he just went and went and went. I mean, he was a good player before then, but my word, I gave him about 9 more man of the matches throughout the season. Other than that one, he scored 7 goals and got 10 assists in all competitions. And for me, if you're a winger at Arsenal, I was brought up, on Overmars, Pires, you got to get at least double figures in assists and double figures for goals. So he did that, and he's only 19 years old, and he's carrying the team for me. So that's why I picked Saka. And then Smith Rowe, he come in just before Christmas, didn't he? I think the Dundalk game. And he didn't look back from there. He got a bigger chance because Jonathan puts here, he did learn post-Christmas Willian hasn't been played when others were fit. The reason Willian didn't get played is because him and all the other Brazilians, apart from Martinelli, had a Christmas party. And they all, well, Gabriel contracted the virus and the others had to go away for a bit. So
had to.
I don't think he learned.
He fell into
about Willian. He was forced into.
Fell into
not
it.
Playing Willian.
And even then after the obviously Gabriel was recovering from COVID. When the other players come out of their little isolation, so we say, so that for Wolves 10 to 14 days. What did he go and do? Martinelli was automatically dropped once he did recover from the little ankle twist he had against Newcastle in the Cup. But Smith Rowe was dropped. Willian was brought back in. David Luiz was brought back in. And what started happening? The mistakes the results started to go. As soon as he started doing that, the results we saw over Boxing Day to the end of January disappeared straight away. Wolves away. It's from the second half onwards.
Yeah.
Because first half, let's not get it wrong. First half, we played some fantastic football. Should have been out of sight. But one lapse in judgment. Like no matter what our mindset is towards the whole penalty situation with Luiz and all that, it was given away. We went down to 10 men, and the whole thing capitulated. And what did he do at half time? He took off a striker in Lacazette, our goal threat, and tried to defend a 1-1 draw with the players that he had, and that's never going to happen.
No.
And then Leno had an absolute brain fart himself that game. And he consistently, that's another thing with Leno. He's been making a lot of mistakes this season. I said all season this was a massive season for him, in the sense of everything that had gone on with Martinez in the summer and all that, and obviously the club backed him. He got cocky. He got arrogant. Obviously, he knew when Arsenal was nowhere near the standard of Martinez. He had no challenge.
Yeah.
And the second week being a bit of a challenge, and he's still making mistakes. But again, the club, Arteta still backs him. I mean, the clangers he was making, especially in this second, seems to obviously put Matty Ryan in, and yet Matty Ryan couldn't get a looking basically, apart from when Leno was suspended, or if he was rested for a European semi-final.
Yeah.
But Pogback says in the chat at the Mr. Arsenal podcast, Diego Simeone stepped in at Atleti when they were in the relegation zone. In his first season, they won the Europa League. Second season, the Copa del Rey. Third season, the league and the UEFA Champions League final. Obviously, runners up. Exactly, but Arteta comes in when we were where were we? We were 10. No, I'm trying to think where we were when he took over. We were mid-table, weren't we? When he took over, anyway. Yeah. And we finished 8th. We didn't go grass up the table like we should have done, really, with a new manager bounce and all that. We won an FA Cup in obviously the back end of the summer. And then this season, everyone's going to go, he didn't have a pre-season. No one had a pre-season, but you're seeing David Moyes finish above us. We didn't have a pre-season. He came in last season with West Ham in the relegation battle, kept him up. And this season, look where they finished. They finished 4 points ahead of us in a Europa League spot, European spot. What even look at it? There's been progress. He didn't have a pre-season with this team, with his team. So why is it we can look at Arteta as not having a pre-season as a get out of jail free card for him when he finished 8th, again. He had a full season, by the way. And yet, David Moyes hasn't had a full pre-season with this team. And again, everything was going off the days before the season even started, selling players selling a player to West Brom that he didn't want sold. And the players were going to go on strike, and there's obviously rumours that he was about to be sacked by the ownership. Look at the season they've gone on to have.
Mhm.
No pre-season, all that controversy as well. And they finished 6th in the league in a European spot for the first time, and they qualify for European. They don't do the best anything, doing European football for the first time in over 100 odd years or whatever. So I don't. When Arsenal fans say this, the ones that are so hell bent that Arteta's the man for the job and all that, I can't buy that because hang on, David Moyes, look what he's done. He came in around the same time.
Yeah.
And look where he is.
Yeah.
So you've got to sort of use your common sense and see and use your eyes and what you're seeing on the pitch. Because there's only so much we can see from behind closed doors, and I'm sick to death of seeing training fucking videos go up of them all happy, smiley. Not even training either. It's all them fucking about. It's just like, oh yeah, they're fucking about. Yeah, but that just shows that there's no real seriousness taken in these training sessions. And that's another concern for me. I mean, why is it so like, yeah, it's all mess about. Let's all do tricks and flicks. But when it comes down to the game day, which I don't do fuck all. I mean, the amount of times I've seen Aubameyang try and do goalkeeping training, and then it comes down to the pitch, he doesn't do fuck all. It just pisses me off.
Yeah. And
then you see, and then literally, before the season's even ended, we're getting rammed down our throat by the club and Adidas because the season's been that bad, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, that we're having rammed down our throat a new training kit for next season.
3 of them.
3 of them.
Yeah,
and
there's one that's like looks like the Dudley Boys' old wrestling bloody clothes.
Yeah.
You got one that's mint green, and you got the other one that's red, haven't you? So there's 3, as well as the new away kit. You got the home kit dropping. I'm guessing there's going to be a 3rd kit.
Oh yeah, well literally, and again, we've never ever, from what I can remember, released any of our kits before the season's ended, let alone played in them, apart from obviously last summer when we had to because of the contract and all that was in place. In a normal season, that's stuff, and then obviously with everything that's got an homage to the double 71 team. Well, hang on, this is the anniversary year itself. Like this 2021 season was the anniversary. Why was it done this? Why was it done? Why was it not done this season? Why have you waited to the following season to celebrate and commemorate this team? And it's the wrong shade of yellow. The shorts aren't blue, and even the blue what blue is in the kit as a whole is navy blue. It's not even the right royal blue that should be going on an Arsenal kit, but it is. But it is what it is, and I'm just banging my head of a brick wall because I'm just sick. Again, it's sick of it. And look at how much they're asking for you. What's it? The kits? About 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Kits used to be a 2-3 year thing. A kit would come out, it had lasted 2-3 years, and then a new kit come out after that. Now it's every fucking 12 months, round down our throat. And by the way, back then, when it was only 2-3 years, the kits themselves when they came out would be like 35, 40 quid, 40 quid tops, £35.
And they were better quality as well.
Better quality. And now, literally,
some of these go through the wash once, they smearing.
Smearing the print, the fucking. It print falls off, or the fucking little cannon thing, or whatever in the back peels off, whatever. From what I've heard, my one's stayed intact. But again, I wouldn't have had this season's home shirt. My brother got it from as a belated birthday present for me last year. Otherwise, I wouldn't be. No need for buying it really. But it's again, and now as I said, we're having it round down our throat every 12 months. New home, new away, 3rd kit as well, and goalie stuff, this, that, and the other, and all the training gear for the whole year. But the kits themselves, the shirts, are now like 65 quid, just plain. If you want the badge and your name on the back or player's name on the back, you look over £100. I'm like, fuck off. Or if you're built like a football player or an athlete, you can pay for a shirt that the players now wear for £100 fucking pound. Are you fucking ridiculous?
Yeah.
And amongst all that, we've had how many fucking training gears have we had this year? Since the start of the season, Jesus Christ, it's absolutely fucking sickening.
Yeah. I mean, thank God Ty's on the payroll because he can afford all the new stuff, you know.
Yeah, Oh dear. And with that, we'll go back things up. What's your goal this season as well? So I did ask you that earlier.
Saka versus Chelsea. I believe he
Same.
meant that.
Yeah.
I
I've
believe
said,
he
I've
meant
said
that.
it. Yeah. I've said
Yeah.
it also. I've said it. I said that back then. I stick by it because I literally I saw the still picture of him when he took the cross, did a cross, whatever you want to fucking call it. He's looking at the goal
Yeah.
before the. He's looked up before he hit the ball where the goalkeeper was. He's meant. Oh, I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
I'll stick.
Goals that hit the bar and go in are better as well. They always have been.
Oh yeah, just that.
Since Tony Yeboah done them, they've always been better.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, for my player again, it's a clean sweep for playing Young Player of the Year for me. Saka and Smith Rowe have been above and beyond, and again, it should be a damning indictment on the experienced players that that's the case.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But it is what it is, but also it does promote how good our youth products it is at the moment. We've got these players coming through that can step up, but they shouldn't have to step up, if you know what I mean, to deserve that they've had to. They should still be able to come in seamlessly, like when Jack Wilshere came in and all that before he got his injuries, and sort of put themselves in there and blend in seamlessly without being noticed. Whereas Saka and Smith haven't got that. They've got to come in seamlessly but be noticed, because if they don't, we struggle massively. I mean, Martinelli as well. I've got to throw Martinelli in there as well, because without him, and then from day one he's come in and shown what he's capable of and what he brings to the pitch, basically, so to speak. But how can I put it? Arteta yet again doesn't know how to manage him by the looks of it, or doesn't have faith in him. I don't know what it is, because he doesn't play enough under Arteta.
Yeah.
And again, it's a massive challenge. We all know. I don't know if you agree, but Martinelli should be in this starting 11. Where the way things are at the moment, he should have been in the starting 11 this season, quite a lot more than what he has done.
Yeah.
I mean, he came on against Palace. I know he scored off the knee over the goalkeeper into the goal. But he still scored. He still put himself about it. When we played Liverpool at the Emirates back in March or whenever it was, we didn't test and their defence was there to be tested. Until he came on, nothing. The second he comes on, he's running in their faces. He's putting pressure on them. They're making mistakes suddenly, and yet he's not getting and sort of sniff. And it does my head in. But we're going to wrap things up, because otherwise we'll be here all night basically. And
it's funny how all three of us basically picked. Well, I don't know what he picked for. James didn't say his goal of the season, did he? But,
no, I'll ask him later.
It's funny we've all got the similar. I would love to know anyone who doesn't pick Saka as their player of the season. I'd love to hear different opinions.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
I like the debate.
yeah, that's true. I think it's just very hard this season. It's been very hard, but I think flop of the season, because you went for Aubameyang, he's gone for James went for Willian. I'm sort of between the two. It's definitely out of them two. No, it could be any play really, but them two definitely stand out.
Yeah, I think I picked Aubameyang just for the player that he was.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're talking about decline,
and with that in mind, I sort of lean towards your mindset, because when he first joined us up till this season, he was fucking smashing the goals in for fun. He was scoring for fun, and then literally signs a new deal, and suddenly that all goes to shit basically. And obviously he's had the personal stuff with his mum and whatever, and obviously malaria in the last few weeks of the season. So maybe, hopefully, it's just a one-off season. He comes back next season with a better team around him.
It's going to have to.
Otherwise, everyone strap in. It's going to be a bit even longer season in this one, even harder one, even with more grueling. And the fact that we didn't finish 10th is a miracle. But if things don't improve, I'm going to end on this. If things do not improve this summer with the ownership or whatever, and the recruitment's crap still, and the signings are dragged out all fucking summer, and we're not ready for the start of the season, we potentially could be a bottom half team this time next year.
Yeah.
Because people then clearly ain't learning from their mistakes.
No, we got no divine right to walk into the top four. You got to earn it.
No, exactly. And I think the last 4 or 5 years have shown that. Since we've fallen out of it at 2017 onwards, it proved that. I think we sort of got, again, as a fan, not just as a fan base, but as a club as a whole, we got so used to being in Champions League every year, we never thought we would fall out of it. We thought it was just okay, it's a sort of second nature. One way or the other, we'd manage to get in Champions League football.
Yeah.
And when we fell out, we thought, it's only one season. We were back in the Champions League, and we didn't come back. And it's a slow decline in that sense as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll just go for the chat. Sorry, one second, because I mentioned Wolves. Because I mentioned Wolves in the chat as well, and obviously with Nuno again. There's another manager that's available now with Nuno Espirito, obviously leaving Wolves. Would you be interested in before you back things up if obviously the vacancy was made available?
He would be about my 7th, 8th, 9th choice.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be in the top.
Yeah, it wasn't my top. It wasn't even my top half the last time round when he was mentioned.
No,
and that was when he was doing well at Wolves. Let's be honest, compared to this season, the drop off is massive. The fact that one player gets an injury, it was a bad injury. Let's not get twisted with Jimenez. But the drop off this season has been crazy over there.
Yeah.
Oh dear, but obviously the last comment from we're going to have this season on the podcast is from Steve. Says to sum up the season, thank God for COVID. Party allowing the youngsters to shine.
Yeah. If them three didn't want to have a dinner together, what could have gone even wrong? I mean, Gabriel, I'm not going to throw under the bus. He's been a very, like you said earlier, all the signings. He's been he was going to be player of the season at the start.
Yes,
all the attacking players turned up. He was dominating.
Was it 3 back to back?
Yeah,
playing a month,
yeah.
And after they all came, the others started to turn up. So as he said, and then obviously it is what it is. But again, he found his tooth the other day on the pitch after celebrating. Messing about the pitch, he fucking lost it. And he found it.
Why are we jumping up and down and having a celebration for a guy that's leaving, that's been here three seasons or so, and
I know,
ridiculous.
Exactly. I mean, it is. Well, that's the mentality now, isn't it? Again, that's another thing that's got to change there, because
exactly
that shouldn't be happening. And obviously, unless this is a player that's part of a for example, Vincent Kompany. If that had happened when he left Man City because of the success he'd had at Man City at the time, or Grow this weekend just gone, you go, you know what? Fair enough. You can understand why, but as you said, someone that's been for basically 5 minutes effectively not done anything really, in a sense of, apart from winning the FA Cup last season, hasn't really done anything. Made us better in the sense of being made us more competitive on this, that, and the other. And you're all there after the last. We finished 8th, by the way, but let's have a party in the middle of the pitch and knock each other's teeth out. Yeah. Fucking idiots, but it is what it is. James, where can people find you?
Yeah, so it's LL Cool James 91 on Twitter, and then I've got my own YouTube channel, which is James Johnston Football. If you want to watch that, give me a sub, that'd be great. And then the Purely Arsenal podcast. They're on YouTube as well. They're everywhere. They're on all the good places you can get podcasts and the bad ones as well. Spotify, we're on there. So.
You can find us over. You can find us obviously here on the Mr. Arsenal podcast YouTube channel, because it's been streamed off 3 platforms as we speak: YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. So you can come over to the channel, subscribe to the channel if you liked what we've done tonight and enjoy the podcast. Just obviously subscribe, smash the like button and share it around. But also you can find the audio in the next 40 minutes over on Anchor, Apple, Google, Spotify, and all the other podcast outlets.
Listen to it on Spotify. Get Spotify.
Do it on there. Yeah. Either way, wherever you listen to it back on, basically do leave a rating and reviews basically, and let us know how we're doing basically. And that's it for the season. The season is done. Thankfully, thank God for that in one sense. And now we look forward to the next season.
Have a nice little break before the Euros, mate.
Yeah,
have some time off.
Have a couple of weeks off, and then we go again. But with that obviously in mind, we've got Champions League final on Saturday. Try and get a few people. Try and probably watch on for that. Get a few people on for that. Have a bit of a laugh. But then and then we have a little break in for the Euros. And then in answer to all that, we may criticise Southgate if he dares drop Saka for the fucking Euros.
I wouldn't mind if he did. I would love him to have a rest. No, honestly,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'd like
That's-
him.
that's-
I'd rather if he had a rest,
Yeah.
it wouldn't bother me at all.
Yeah, that's why I'm sort of happy that Smith Rowe's been not chosen, because he can actually have a full pre-season at
Yeah.
Arsenal and
Yeah,
sort of just
he'll
relax.
he'll get in that squad in plenty of time. He'll got ages before he'll get it back in there.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, with that, we'll see you next in terms of podcast, podcast seasons wise. We'll see you next season, but you will see us obviously throughout the summer, starting obviously Saturday, the Champions League final. We're going to do podcasts throughout the season, that summer, sorry. Whenever there's like big breaking news, this, that, and the other, something to talk about that's involving Arsenal, we'll come back and do that. We're covering the Euros as well, especially the Portugal's group in the Euros. Portugal, France, and Germany. That is a crazy group. And God knows what's happening there. But you know what? I can't wait for it. And that side of things, I can actually enjoy some football and without having an emotional attachment to it, because I don't really care about international football. It's just there. It fills the void for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then we've got then we have the pre-seasons, and then we have the transfers, hopefully, in between it all. And we'll go from there. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your summer, basically, unless I see you again during the summer. And as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.